Welcome to Mission Revive, a podcast dedicated to hope and healing through God's transforming love, where your hosts, anchored in truth and armed with faith, are changing the world and reviving hearts with Jesus, one conversation at a time.
Hi, I'm Bob Newberry. I'm on the board of directors of Revive, Hope, and Healing Ministries. And we want to welcome you to our newest episode of Mission Revive podcast. And I want to introduce you to my colleague who is going to be taking the lead in this podcast because she's really an expert in the topic we're talking about. So welcome, Ann Costa.
Hi, thanks, Bob. You know, it's funny that you should say I'm an expert in the Sacred Heart, because honestly, I think we're all in the school of the Sacred Heart of Jesus, and we can never, ever learn all that we need to this side of the veil. But thankfully, we have two people here today who have devoted a good portion of their lives, committed their families to this beautiful devotion to the Sacred Heart. So that's what we're going to be talking about today in this month of the Sacred Heart. And we're also going to be talking about a wonderful mission that is being planned in our own diocese for the solemnity, which comes up on the 24th of June. So this is our first annual retreat. We're hoping to have more, and it's an option that any parish can have. And I'm really excited to introduce you to the guys. So come on, Shannon and Pat, there they are.
Welcome.
And we have the Sacred Heart with us.
Yes, you always do. And
Yes.
I'm so glad to have you on to share your testimony really about why are you devoted to the Sacred Heart? What is that about for you? What has it been about for you and your family?
You want to start, huh?
Well, the main thing is, having a lot of kids. We have 8 kids. We wanted to make sure that we were leading them in the proper direction. So as Catholics, we felt that there was more that we could be doing at home to build our domestic church as our family grew. So as our family grew, we decided that, we really needed to do something more, something else, something a little bit more substantial, and put some meat on the bone other than going to church every Sunday and getting our kids to participate in the Mass on Sunday. We wanted it to feel more like something that we were doing on a daily basis instead of a weekly basis. So we were introduced to the Sacred Heart of Jesus and the enthronement in our home by Gloria Anson. And that's where Shannon really took a shine to Gloria and started working with the Sacred Heart.
Yes.
So back in 2007, there was a big family conference on the enthronement of the Sacred Heart of Jesus here in Syracuse, New York, headed up by the Sacred Heart Apostolate and Gloria Anson. And I went because Janet Benkovic was going to speak, and I wanted to hear her. And hold on, honey. So, because I was doing her Women of Grace classes. So I just went to hear Jenna, and I got this whole side vision about the enthronement of the Sacred Heart of Jesus, and my heart just was like bursting with desire to know more about the enthronement and what it would mean to our family.
Yeah.
And so Gloria and I quickly became friends, and from that family conference, we scheduled our enthronement and started to learn. We didn't know a lot about the enthronement, but we just started to learn little by little about the promises and about just the powerfulness of the enthronement in your home. And like Gloria said, like it was in my heart and it was just bursting, and I knew that it was something that we had to do for our family. So that year in October, we went through the whole enthronement process. and had our home enthroned to the Sacred Heart of Jesus. And it's been an absolute blessing ever since. There's just been, that was, gosh, what, 15 years ago now? So many things have happened along the way that I don't think we could have gotten through without the love of the Sacred Heart in our home, and without him, his kingship over us in our home. I don't know if we would have made through some of the difficult situations that we've been in. So
Wow. And how many children did you say that you have?
we have 8 children. At the
8
time
children.
we did the enthronement, I was pregnant for my lucky number 7, Peter. And so they've grown up under, the guidance of the Sacred Heart in our home, which has been amazing,
Okay. So, and we didn't really get into your background, but you've both lived in Syracuse all of your life, grew up,
No.
Pat.
We were away for a while, and we moved back that year.
Oh, really?
For 14 years, and we moved back that year. And it was
Okay.
very soon when we moved back that we were connected right with
Gloria.
Heart
Yeah.
Apostolate. Yeah.
And she's kind of our connection. I think that's how we know you. Shannon, also, if you could just say a little bit about yourself in terms of the other work that you do. And Pat, also, you're very involved in the Catholic Church and some of the issues that face families that are threatening to families. So tell us just a little bit about yourselves, and then we'll get back to how the Sacred Heart carried you through all that.
Sure. Well, we became involved with the Sacred Heart Apostolate back in 2007. Before that, I was doing Women of Grace classes and confirmation classes and that type of thing. And through the involvement of the Sacred Heart, through Lisa Morris, who is now the president of the Sacred Heart Apostolate, I found out about the program called 40 Days for Life that was sweeping the nation. It was brand new at the time, and so my husband and I have been very involved with Jeannie Owens and her husband with building the 40 Days for Life program here in Syracuse, and the prayer outreach. And
It's prayer outside of Planned Parenthood.
Yes,
right?
Outside of Planned Parenthood, we pray, and we also offer resources and any sort of help that any young woman or young couple needs in order to be able to bring their baby into the world and not have to live in fear of not being able to take care of their child.
Mhm.
It's a beautiful ministry. We've saved, the ministry itself, we know of over 80 children whose lives have been saved right on the sidewalk.
Mhm.
That's just the ones we know about. But that all did come about through the enthronement, through the Lord's heart speaking to our heart and bringing us into ministry. And Jeannie and her husband also had enthroned their home to the Sacred Heart, and the Lord kind of put us together through a friend. And that's like the beauty of the enthronement is when, I think, my husband can speak to it too, but when you socially proclaim Jesus as King of Kings and Lord of Lords of your home, and you invite him in to take care of the mess that you've made of your lives,
Yeah.
for us. He actually comes in and becomes that leader and that friend, and that his heart actually does speak to you in the recesses of your own home. You have the Eucharist at church, but now you have him right there. You have that presence in your own home, and it's a very real presence that comes into your home. I'll let my husband speak to that.
Yeah.
It's kind of a little bit scary when you're as the guy of the household. My wife is also a guy because our last name's Guy, but when you're the head of the household and there's a lot of burden put on, or a focus put on you to be a father and to be a father figure, and you realize that, hey, this is a big responsibility, and there's a lot of people looking to me for direction and which way do we go. So to have and to bring into your home and do an enthronement and then actually say, look, it's really not me, it's Jesus who is the king of our home, and we put him in the first place. And now the focus changes from, okay, what do I really do, what am I doing, to, okay, we need to be focused more on Jesus and what Jesus is doing and how he interacts in our lives, as opposed to just what mom and dad are saying and doing. So building that personal relationship with Jesus becomes something more real and much more part of a daily life. And I think that's one of the big advantages to doing an enthronement and to having an enthroned home.
Mhm, mhm. And so when you do an enthronement, what do you actually do? What's the process? How did you go about it?
It's
And how can people do it?
There is a preparation period, and and when we have the parish mission, we actually have a whole team, right, Anne, set up to help people go through the process. We're called Sacred Heart Missionaries, and we go and we help them facilitate their enthronement. And it's not a difficult process, although you can run into snares. You know, when you gather teenagers for prayer every night for a few days in a row, you might get a little, begrudging looks and whatnot, which
No,
happens.
your house will start on fire. The dog will run away. Car will break down. You name it, it's going to happen.
No, it's not true.
It is true.
We don't want to scare them away, but Jesus shows us right away how much we need them, right?
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, you will run into interference because Satan does not want this to
That's
happen.
right.
That's
He
a
doesn't.
fact. It's a fact.
You-
But because
100%.
You'll lose your car keys.
graces will
You're gonna-
come from all of the, just be prepared for maybe a little interference going on. So generally, you can do 9 days of prayer. A lot of people go for the Triduum, the 3 days of prayer. And we set you all up with your prayers. You'll know exactly what prayers you've got to say. And it focuses on, inviting Jesus into your home. Our Blessed Mother, we bring our Blessed Mother to your house because she always helps prepare our hearts for Jesus.
Now that's a part that people really enjoy. When you
Yeah.
say you're bringing the Blessed Mother, what do you mean? What happens?
So we bring a beautiful statue of Our Lady of Fatima into the home, and you pray with our Blessed Mother to prepare your hearts for the 3 days of prayer, or if you want to do the full novena. And it's amazing how touched people are and really feel her presence with them. I know Gloria had a story of an elderly gentleman who was enthroning his home by himself. He lived alone. And when she had to take our Blessed Mother to another home, he actually was so, moved. He started crying and he kissed our Blessed Mother and, wiped her feet and everything. And really felt that she really brought that female presence in his home that he had been missing for so many years. So,
Yeah.
I mean, but that's the feeling that you have. And so when you go through the prayers, you're going through them with our Blessed Mother. So it's just so beautiful. And then we go through just the logistics of what you need for the enthronement, the image, the place in your home where you feel would be set up for prayer and would be a very focal point in your home where people, when they come in your home, they know that Jesus is there. And,
Right. So with a framed image, usually, right?
Yes.
Of that Sacred Heart where his heart is exposed.
Yes.
Because that was one of the promises, right? He said, what did he say? I will bless any place where my heart is
The image
honored,
Mhm.
in a prominent
Being
place,
honored. Yes.
right?
Every home and every place in which my heart is exposed and honored.
And I
His
think,
image.
I think the big thing there is you look at, we are the domestic church, the family. And
Yes.
that's what we're told. That's what Catholic teaching is. And if we're the domestic church, why not have a place where in our home, our family home, much like our church that we go to every Sunday,
Yes.
has the tabernacle.
Yes.
We're not going to have a tabernacle in our house, but we can have an image of the
We
Sacred Heart of
set it up.
Jesus set in a place where now you have a place where, okay, if you're feeling stressed, if you want to pray, if you can go there and you can be with Jesus in a more formal way instead of, an informal, pray everywhere, which you should, everywhere in every place. But now we have a formal, a focal point.
Mhm.
Focal point. Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of people think, well, my family is pretty messy. Things can be pretty tense, but I love that you said that,
You said your
it's just
family's-
a messy life that we have, and he's right in the middle of it, right?
That's right.
You
Yeah.
don't have to get all cleaned up and clean your house to have him in there, right?
That's
Yeah.
That's right.
I've got a question here. You talk about promises, and could you review what you're referring to
Sure.
by promises, where they came from, and
Yes.
how they came to be?
Yes. So back in the late 1600s in Paray-le-Monial, France, our Lord actually appeared to a nun named Saint, or she's a saint now, but Margaret Mary Alacoque.
Right.
And he, in a little chapel that my husband and that I stood in, you haven't been there yet.
I didn't go there. I stayed home with the kids
He actually,
for a couple of weeks.
yeah, he appeared to her, and
I used to have longer hair.
but he appeared to her in this chapel, and he exposed his heart to her. And he said, basically, see this heart which loves so much, but receives so little love in return. And he laid out a plan that he wanted all of mankind to come back to his heart and to know the love that he had in his heart for them. And he said he wanted Saint Margaret Mary Alacoque to spread the devotion of his Sacred Heart. And he said that he gave numerous promises, but we kind of succinctly put them into about 12 promises. And they're so beautiful. The first one was like one of my favorites, and it's, I will give them all the graces necessary for their state of life. And as a mother of 8 children, feeling overwhelmed, I'm sure fathers and everybody, grandparents, and, anyone that deals with any difficulty, you feel overwhelmed at times, like you can't get through your day sometimes with the amount of responsibility that you have. He promises, I will give you all your graces for your state of life.
Yeah. And the second one is, I will give them peace in their homes.
Yeah.
And if after our enthronement, we've had peace in our homes, in our home especially, I can't imagine what it would have been like without it.
Yeah.
So it's been really.
I mean, look at the world today and all the mass shootings and everything. We need Jesus to come in our homes and bring peace.
Yeah.
This world is living without Jesus in their lives, and he needs to come right into the middle of our homes and bring peace. And it's his promise. He never backs down on his promise. He brings peace. That's so powerful. I will comfort them in all their afflictions. Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think we would have gotten through with some of the stuff that we've been through.
No, I think we have daily
Yeah.
afflictions. So,
Daily afflictions.
yes.
Yeah, gotcha.
And he says, I will be their secure refuge during life, and above all in death. And so, we pray to St. Joseph for a happy death all the time. I mean, he's going to be there in our life, but in our death, he will be there as well to greet us. I will bestow abundant blessings upon all of their undertakings. I mean, he says all of their undertakings. So from the smallest to the greatest, he's going to bestow blessings on that. Sinners will find in his heart the source of an infinite ocean of mercy. So that is where the hope comes in, not to despair in your sins, and he's going to give you that. Do you want to say some of those, honey?
No, I just want to say everybody's heard the saying that God keeps his promises, and here he's made promises. And if you believe in God, you've got to also believe in the promises that he's made to you and to us.
Yeah.
And we've lived it. There's many close calls, many afflictions, many difficulties, and all those things that would have been impossible
disastrous
to get through
Yeah.
without some comfort and some assurances that,
Of course, with 8 children, there's just no way. You can't escape it, right? The variables are just so great, and to know that he's there through it all, I can't imagine how.
you have to have a place to turn, someone to turn to instead of something. And when you have someone to turn to who has made, pretty significant promises, you have a peace, you have a blessing, you have a hope that otherwise could be a hopeless, not peaceful, very crazy world, which it
One of
generally normally is.
Yeah. One of the promises that I love, and Anne, we have some very dear friends that are priests. And one of the promises that he says is, I will give priests the gifts of touching the most hardened hearts. And I know when we had our enthronement, we had a family member whose heart was really bitter. And we invited this family member into our home for the enthronement. And to my surprise, they showed up. And Father Guida actually was the priest that came into our home to do our enthronement. And I just knew that he was going to touch his heart because Jesus promises that, So I know we have several friends dedicated to the devotion to the Sacred Heart and the enthronement, and I know that they know in their heart of hearts that this promise is meant for them. So it's powerful. Yeah.
And when you have a priest come to your home, and this is one of the few places and times in our lives, actually the only time in our lifetime where we've had a priest come to our home and say mass for our family and our friends and the other people that were gathered for the enthronement. So it's something that you don't forget. It's a very important moment that sticks in your mind as being extremely important to my parents and very important for my family because we had mass.
Yeah. Well, you can have mass or you can go through the prayers. The prayers themselves take about 15 or 20 minutes. I mean, in our diocese, they allow you to have mass in the home. I don't know if all dioceses do that. So either way, you can do with the mass or you can do with just the ceremony. It's up to the personal preference of the family. So it was just it was very special.
I think that makes it special. And I can imagine that even if you've got your teenagers that are kind of kicking and screaming to be a part of this, but to have a priest come in your home and celebrate mass, or to have the father leading the procession. If you don't have a mass, it's still a pretty memorable thing. It's a life. It's something that you carry with you. I hear priests talk about. I hear old priests talking about when they had an enthronement in their home, they remember that, right? And often attribute their vocation to that, enthronement experience. So.
Right.
And one of the things I say about, if you talk about priests and you talk about, like, we have an Irish background, soon after our enthronement, we went to Ireland, and in every Irish home we walked into, built into the home, constructed into, was an alcove, and in that alcove was a light that came out, and in that alcove that was built as part of the construction was a picture of the Sacred Heart of Jesus. So it wasn't just
permanent light on him.
Always in those homes, and it wasn't just in the one that we went. I went and I looked because we were
every one.
Every home we went into in Ireland had that alcove with the light permanently fixed.
Very cool.
When you walk in the door on the Sacred Heart of Jesus, and that was your whole family, all your cousins had the same thing.
And it's also a healing to do this in the spirituality of it, that it goes down through your descendants and back through your ancestors. It's there's a healing process that goes along with it. It's very powerful, very, very, it's the pouring out of the love of Jesus, not just in your home, but through your whole, family, from your ancestors down to your descendants. So
I've got a question for Pat. All right. As you can see from the podcast, I'm young and vibrant and but I've been around the block a little bit, and I've actually written several books for parents on raising children, and I've been very intrigued with the exercise of authority and by parents, and how they do it, don't do it, or become masterful at it. And your comment early in our discussion here, I thought really needs to be underlined about 20 times. And how you phrased it, I was really taken by. Two things. One is, and I really look for your expanded comments, if you would. One thing you said was you realized the importance of exercising leadership in your home. That was which I don't hear an awful lot talked about with respect to fathers these days. That's first thought. Second thought is that as a leader, you're really a disciple of Christ. That we're not talking about just exercising parental control. You're looking to exercise your leadership in the home, but as a disciple of Christ, led by Christ. Could you talk about those two things?
Yeah, I think that the scary part for dads and for fathers is the fact that you're looked at as a leader, and you're looked at, how do you do that job? How do you effectively do that job? And it's not thought about. It's not actively thought about. I think it's not. You're just, this is my wife. These are my kids. We're going to do things together. But it's much more than that. It's an obligation to get to heaven. You have to make sure these people that have been entrusted to your care are directed in a proper way to think about in a normal fashion. How do I get to heaven? How do I get to where I want to be? I may have a long life, I may have a short life, but what was my inspiration, or how did I get there? And that's why the enthronement really took a lot of pressure off me as a dad, because I was able to say in front of all my kids, thank God they were there, to say, look, the real king of our house is Jesus. We're just here to do, live the commandments, do the things that he asks us to do. We're going to go to church on Sunday. I don't want an excuse. Give me results, not excuses. I need results. And the result is your butt gets out of bed and we go to church together. And it's a fight, it's a struggle, but I lead by, I'm out of bed, I'm going, you can get dressed too, we're going to go together. So, because when we go to church, and one of the things I say, we look around and we say, most people look like you. They got white hair. And where are the people with the kids and the families and the screaming babies and all that? And they're
at the Latin Mass.
Yeah, they're at the Latin Mass. Yeah.
That's the truth.
We have some vibrant churches in our area for sure.
So, but I'm a little bit older now, and I have gray hair. You just don't see it.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's, I think that's what the enthronement really did for me. It took a lot of pressure off to really make my focus on Jesus and the enthronement of him as king of our home. And I'm doing the same job you're expected to do. I'm going to church. I'm trying to live the 10 Commandments. I'm trying to live my faith as best I can in thought, word, and action. I go to work,
community.
Try to do these things and lead by example. And the example is not a great one, because I lose my temper a lot. I do things I shouldn't do, but I also do some things I should do, which is try and live the 10 Commandments.
That I so appreciate what you're saying and how you're saying it, and the humility with which you're saying it. Man, I think if we can figure out a way to package it, I'd like to do that. But that's, but I guess promoting the home enthronement
Yes.
is how you package it, huh?
Yeah, but that, it's also too, the humility that we have comes from, from being beat down so much, but also, when I met Shannon and I asked her to marry me, she told me, you don't want to marry me. And I said, why? She said, because it's going to be difficult, if not impossible, for me to have children.
Yeah.
And
that's what they told me.
And that's what I said, look, I'm going to leave that in God's hand. I want to marry you. And I pushed, and she said, okay, we'll get married. And we left it in God's hands, and we have 8 children.
Yeah.
Because of that.
Yeah.
And I didn't know if I thought we wouldn't have any, but we have a lot, and compared to today's standards, and it's an obligation. So I take it seriously, and we do.
Yeah.
We always have been involved in
we work hard at it.
Their education, their Catholic education, and it's still a struggle. I mean, the secular world offers, a happy meal, I call it, not a feast,
Yeah,
But,
and I think the hard part is you can overdo it with your religiosity, and you can underdo it.
Yeah.
Where do you strike the balance?
Yeah.
How do you, get kids and people actively involved in seeking Jesus Christ and a personal relationship with him on their own level? And you can't force that on someone. They have to come to it by their own interest and their own love of wanting to know more.
And I think that you just hit that. What struck me back in 2007 with the conference was there was a panel on the last day, and on that panel were several couples who had enthroned their homes several years before, and out of those homes were becoming priests and religious sisters. And I said, in this world that we live in, if this enthronement is so powerful that they would answer the call that God intended for them to have as a priest or a religious sister, that they would hear that, that's something very powerful. And that's something that we wanted for our family. Not that we have anybody, we don't know yet, maybe there's one maybe leaning that way, but I thought how very powerful that presence in your home is not just us speaking to the kids, but it's the heart of Jesus that is speaking to them.
Yeah. The other thing too, to answer your question on leadership, Jesus made these promises to us. So he made these promises, and I'm looking back at him and I'm saying, look, you made these promises. We've done the best we can. I'm looking at you now to keep promises. So I want to see some real results here for our effort. So let's get going.
Buck stops with him, right?
Yeah.
Not with you. It stops with him. So.
It does.
Wow.
My girlfriend gave me a pillow with the image of the Sacred Heart of Jesus. And sometimes when we were going through a hard time, I would take the pillow up to my bed. It's normally on my couch. And I'd sleep right on his heart. And I'm like, I'm sleeping on your heart. So I'm going to cry right now. Okay.
Yeah.
But he's there to comfort us in our affliction. So
I was going to say, it really just makes it real. It just makes him so real to your home, especially you see little children, they're just so drawn.
Yeah.
They're drawn to him. They start talking to the image, you know. And I just heard a Norbertine priest on the feast on the first Friday, talking about how we should have his image and Our Blessed Lady's image in every room of our home, because they communicate grace to us. They communicate grace to us. It's not just a picture, you know, it is a powerful sacramental. It's a reminder, it's a memorial, it's, you know.
Yeah,
it's good. There have been people that have come into our house and they've actually complained, and I've heard them complain, why do you have so many religious figures in your house? Every room just about. And it's just because if you've been to our house, we get, like Shannon, we went in our old house, we met and we graciously, the head of 40 Days for Life from Australia came to our house and we hosted him. And he said, he was so appreciative. He said, I'm going back. My daughter makes this artwork that's really beautiful. And we're going to have her we're going to send one to you. And like
Our Lady of Guadalupe.
6 months later comes this beautiful work of art from Australia.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely gorgeous. And we're like, this is really beautifully handmade and very well done.
He said it's supposed to go in the garden. I go, no, it's going in my kitchen.
Yeah, it's going to go in the kitchen, which is the best place for it because you spend so much time in the kitchen.
Right.
Yes. The whole family, heart of the home.
Great spot for it.
So So this joy that you're sharing with us right now it's pretty contagious. And I know, and I'm very happy to say we're going to be sharing more. You're going to be sharing more of your story at St. Daniel's Church, the testimonials the week before on the masses and the 18th and 19th, I believe. Mm-hmm. And then we'll start the mission. Tell us a little bit more about the mission and what's all about that and what can happen at the mission and how people can.
I'm so excited for this mission. I feel like we're bringing a revival to Syracuse. I really do. And I think it's going to be contagious. And I love our community anyways, because I think we have some of the most dedicated Christians in the whole country, right in Syracuse. We have a very beautiful community. And I think this is just going to only make that just explode. We're ready for it, Yeah. So the mission is going to be on the 23rd and 24th of June at 6:30 at St. Daniel's. And the first night is going to consist of a healing session. And Father Ward is going to give a beautiful talk, and we're going to have confession. We're going to have prayer over us for gifts of the Spirit. And the Lord is going to lead us into his grand feast day with the next day, which is the Feast of the Sacred Heart of Jesus. So, and the next day will be Mass, and there will be a lot of community. There'll be a lot of people that have actually had their homes enthroned to the Sacred Heart there, a lot of families to witness to people with questions as to, how was this? How did this go in your home? And what do you think of this? Because that's the best. Having people that have lived with the enthronement for years, they're going to be there to just minister to others, to bring this joy into their homes, and this power and this the peace that this world, every family needs into their homes. So I just can't wait. It's going to be great.
Right. Great. So we hope
we're going to have a full church. It's going to be.
I think we are.
Standing room only.
Just with our family.
Yeah.
Awesome. It is really good news. And the first annual. So we're just getting started, and there will be people and resources, as you say, to help people take that next step and have it be such a meaningful and beautiful ceremony experience that they have in their home. And you don't have to, if it's just you, it's a very beautiful thing. You invite friends if you want. The facilitators will be there. You can have your priest, but you'll always have Jesus. He'll be right there in your home. And that's
we've done that. We've done enthronements in nursing homes. We've done them with widows. We've done family is a different concept for everybody.
Yeah.
But
we did it at Joseph's house, actually. We did. And that's a home for unwed women. So
and you can also enthrone your businesses, your ministries. Yes. I mean, we'll give everything over to
absolutely.
So one of the promises is if you promote the enthronement, your name is written on Jesus' heart. So
never to be effaced.
Never to be effaced.
If there's any place I want my name, that would be it.
Yeah. Awesome. Great. Bob, anything else?
And I'm good. This has been outstanding, and I so appreciate your example and your commitment through the years. And I on a personal level, I look forward to getting to know you in the months and years to come. Thank you very much.
You too. You too, Bob.
Thanks
God bless
a lot.
you.
So good talking to you, and so good meeting you.
Yep. God bless.
God bless you too.
We are grateful that you joined us today for another episode of the Mission Revive podcast. We humbly ask for your prayers as we continue in the mission entrusted to us to evangelize and revive hearts with Jesus. We would also ask that you prayerfully consider becoming a sponsor of this podcast or making a financial contribution to support this growing ministry. You can do this by visiting our website at revivehopeandhealing.com or through our Revive Hope and Healing Ministries patron page. We cannot do this without you. Thank you.